Hello and welcome to Jedi Dropouts, where we like to keep it more geekly than weekly. I am here with my friend and co-host, the Vice President of the Canadian chapter of the My Little Pony fan club, 5-time winner of the International My Little Pony cosplay competition, and, fun fact, the original inspiration for the character Rainbow Dash, Mr. James Moss.
What can I say? I'm pretty horny.
Mr. James Rainbow Dash Moss, as we usually refer to him. I mean, that's what all your friends and family refer to you as.
Yeah. That's funny that you would use that for an intro, because I recently watched a Vice doc with a friend of mine about a group of people in the UK who take a lot of drugs and identify as unicorns.
Oh, of course.
And it was very troubling to watch.
It sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm Ryan Taylor, by the way.
Yeah, you usually are.
Usually. Like 3 out of 4 times.
Yep.
If you didn't know, we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary here at Jedi Dropouts.
Yep.
1 fucking year, man. We did it. Whatever it was.
30 Helens agree that it was a raging success.
Yep. So you were, what is their 32nd episode? 32nd main episode of the podcast. And, I mean, It's not quite a year, because it was May 1st, wasn't it, that we actually launched?
I think so.
But, I mean,
30 seconds.
Yeah. And I guess we could have waited till the next episode to do the anniversary, but we got some really eventful and timely things for the next episode with the release of Infinity War and all.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually going to get to go see, due to a convenient trip to St. John's at that time. So,
Emily and I were figuring out today which day we're going to go to, because I'm off Thursday and Friday, but we checked the theater schedule and it actually does get here on Thursday. But we decided we're not going to go on until Friday.
Yeah,
because like it's just a lot of hoopla on opening night.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm looking at Friday as well. Like, we're getting to St. John's on that Thursday, but I don't know, I'm going to be driving all day and I'm probably going to be exhausted, so.
Exactly.
I'm thinking Friday night.
Go get some tacos or something, chill out, have a good rest, and
yeah, tacos.
Be prepared for the next day.
You know me so well. Of course, I like Mexican food is like the second most important part of this trip. Like,
oh my God! Like, literally the first thing I do when I get to St. John's is shower, get cleaned up, settle into wherever I'm staying, and then immediately drive to Kelsey Drive and go to Quesada and get a 3-pack of tacos.
Quesada? I'm not familiar. It's
kind of like Subway, but tacos and burritos.
Oh, yeah? Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Like, you just kind of like, you pick whether you want like beans or meat or what, and then you just go down the line being like, I want that, and that on it.
Well, you just sold me on it. Quesada, not a sponsor.
I love it. Not a sponsor,
yeah.
But, you know, if they're offering.
Yep. We'll take it. I'm sure we have a huge base of listeners from the Quesada ownership and staff. Speaking of which, I just want to delve into this for a second. Started looking around on the the creators side of the podcast page from Podbean, where we host the podcast, and found out that I can look at specific statistics on where our listeners are coming from. And we've got more than 2, apparently, because it seems like half of our listens and downloads are coming from the US. Like, a weird amount from California. And, like, we've had listeners from Japan and all across the world, apparently. Like, you wouldn't notice it with the numbers we have there. I assume most of our listeners were people we knew, but
yeah,
doesn't seem to be the case.
Nope.
So we're gonna have to retire the 2 listener joke and upgrade it to like 10 or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
Jedi Dropouts, bigger than Kiss, greater than or equal to Jesus.
I'll tell you what. We'll go for now on. We'll until the podcast grows a little more. We'll go with a baker's dozen.
There you go.
So we got a fun little show lined up here today. We're basically just gonna touch on a revamp of our pilot episode. We won't even explain it now. We'll hop into it as it comes.
Yep.
But first, the big addition, of course, to the podcast lately has been the mailbag, and it's quickly become, I don't know if you agree with me here, but like the best part of the podcast.
It's one of my favorite parts of it.
Absolutely. So we put a call out for the special anniversary mailbag, and I'm pretty pleased with what we got back. I'm looking forward to this. So I think the most fitting one to start with here, of course, your girlfriend Emily submitted, what was your favorite episode of the podcast to record? Which, reflecting back now, is it's hard to pick to make.
I don't know if I have one particular episode that was my favorite.
Okay.
I do like the ones that, as much fun as it is to review things, I do enjoy fan casting more.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite was, I like the ones where we like just pull random questions at each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had to pick one episode, maybe I'd pick the one where we fan casted the Mario universe, or the Nintendo universe.
That was good.
Where I decided to do Mario Party / Smash Bros. The movie with Seth Rogen and company.
Yeah. That was, episode 3, I believe.
I think so. It was real early in.
Yeah, because that was our first day of recording. We batched those 3. And by the end of the day, we were tired and loopy and
just burnt out.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked really well. I find the best ones is when we get a good rhythm going, and when we're like, we've got a for some reason we're just really on our game. And I had a lot of fun recording it. It comes out in the podcast. So the 2 that come to mind, for some reason or another, episode 7, which was our X-Men episode. Like,
nice.
That was from our second recording session, I believe. So like last summer sometime. We had something going that day, and again, I think it was the last episode of the day, and we got a little loopy, but like, I don't know, I had a lot of fun doing that one, and I think that one turned out pretty well. And the other one, like, was... One second, here we go. Episode 16, which was basically just based around your review of it, but like, we just kind of like, we didn't really have a layout for the episode. We did some minor reviews, some news, but like, for some reason, that one felt really good. Like, I felt on our game when we did that one. And usually, like, not to say that I don't enjoy the Skyping, but like in person is a little better.
It most definitely is.
Yeah. But that one was, I thought that was probably one of the better ones of our Skype recordings. It's a little too early to tell, but I feel like lately we've been on our game. The content and just the quality of our episodes are getting a little better. And I feel that in a lot of the feedback we're getting too. We've gotten so much feedback lately. Speaking of which,
which I love. It feeds my ego.
Little tangent here. We got a lot of feedback on the last episode, on our 30 questions. Well, as you know, of course, our friend Matt Pike inboxed us together just to tell us how much he enjoyed the episode, which was fantastic. And yes, Matt, Shawn Michaels is the fucking king. And another friend of mine just shot me a message saying how much he enjoyed it. But our friend and my co-host from Final Form, Mitchell Clark, actually got so into it, and what he did, after the question had been asked in the episode, he paused it, answered it himself, and then continued. And he sent me the full list of answers.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, just because, like, I like the idea of people feeling involved, and it feeling less like, less of the separation between the audience and us, which is pretty cool.
Oh, God, yeah.
I gotta say, I really like how things have been going lately.
Well, I mean, even when I was playing in bands and stuff like that, like playing in my awful, shitty punk bands that I used to play in, one of the biggest things one of my favorite things about playing live was any engagement between the audience and myself. Like, if you wanted to get on stage and sing along, perfect. Like, that was right up my alley. I've always enjoyed stuff like that. So, having things like that, them engaging with us in this way, like, that excites me as well.
Yeah.
Like, any way I can engage other people, get feedback, stuff like that, I'm all for it.
100%.
Yeah.
So speaking of our friend Matt Pike, he sent us in a couple of questions. 3, we're only going to do the first 2. We're going to save the third one for another one, because that one's a bit of a thinker. He wants to know, which well-known conspiracy theory do you guys think has the highest possibility of being true? And we'll get to the second question in a minute. Any thoughts on this? Because this is a tough one too.
I thought a little bit about this one. Usually for the mailbag, I like to try and just do it in the moment, not a lot of pre-planning and stuff like that, because I feel it's more of a genuine answer.
Yeah,
that way.
Fair.
Sometimes can be a bit funnier, but this one took a bit of thought. I don't delve too much into many conspiracy theories. The whole 9/11 being an inside job one was, something I watched a few documentaries on back in the day. The whole thing about Hitler being alive and moving down to South America thing was something that I found kind of interesting.
Yep.
I don't know. I've always believed in the existence of aliens and UFOs and like the paranormal and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too.
So the whole like Roswell, Area 51, like the whole like aliens have been here and it's been covered up thing is probably the one that I believe the most.
Yeah. I believe that as well. The truth is out there, man. The other one that I have fully convinced myself is true is that Tupac is still alive. I fully believe he faked his death. Like, I am so convinced of it. And, but yeah, along with that, obviously the aliens, the UFOs, I'm completely behind that. Now, there are other I wish were true, like wishful thinking more so.
Yeah.
I really like cryptozoology. Like, I want to believe that Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and El Chupacabra and everything are all real, but I don't know. Maybe. And the other one is what was the other one? Oh, I really like the idea of it's maybe a little less conspiracy, a little more mythical, like a legendary. The idea of the Holy Grail or the lost city of Atlantis, those things being real. But
that would be pretty cool.
It would be cool. Like there's but you got to separate what do you think is true and what do you want to believe are true.
Yeah.
So that's my answers for that. Tupac's out there, man. Don't believe the hype.
Tupac's out there chilling with some aliens.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you can't disprove it.
What if Tupac faked his death so he could become one of the Men in Black?
What if Tupac faked his death and... You ever see Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Like...
It's been a while.
What if he left Earth like that? Like, aliens showed up and played some kind of odd musical pattern, and then he just walked into a spaceship and left us.
He went home.
Yeah. Okay. Matt also wants to know, based on... Okay, I'll give the backstory here. On our last episode, you asked the question, what restaurant would you take Gordon Ramsay to if you could take him to anywhere you've been? You answered Bob's Chicken Coop. I said Domino's Pizza House. And then we discussed who had the tougher staff. So,
yeah.
Based on that, Matt wants to know, if the Bob's Chicken Coop ladies threw down in a cage match with the Domino's Pizza House ladies, who wins and why? Which, I don't even know how to answer that. Oh, God.
If I had to give an answer to it, I would say the Bob's Chicken Coop staff.
There's a lot of factors on
that. You lived in Stephenville for a little while.
Yeah.
I've only been in Stephenville briefly for when I've been doing shows out there. So I've only been, I can count on one hand the number of times I've been to Domino's.
Yeah.
So I'm much more experienced with Bob's Chicken Coop, and, gotta have a little bit of hometown pride.
Oh, yeah.
Root for the home team. So since they're from my hometown, I would be rooting for Bob's Chicken Coop.
Just want to clarify here, in case anyone, I guess, from those staff, or anyone related or a friend of any of the staff members, we're not mocking or insulting in any way. It is simply that they seem like tough people. They seem like tough individuals who don't take anybody's shit. That is all. And I'd also probably lean towards Bob's, but two factors I don't know about here. Number one, how many employees does each business have? Because if you're
that's something I have no idea.
Exactly. And secondly, who's more agile? Who's quicker? Because cage match, you get out of that cage, you win it, right? I don't know. There's a lot of factors. You almost need to do a weigh-in here to really before I'd put any odds down. It's too blind. I mean, blinded by home team pride, I'd go Bob's. That's same as you, man. And
I think that's the safest answer for that.
Yeah. Last question, and this was a late entry. A friend of mine, Will Sullivan, messaged me today with the his anniversary mailbag question. If you could star in or make any movie, what genre movie would it be?
Easy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got?
This is something I've wanted to do and thought about for years and years. Like, since I was in my early teens, I have wanted to do a slasher flick.
Okay. Yeah.
I watched a lot of like Friday the 13th and stuff like that growing up. Still do. And when I was growing up, we spent a fair bit of time at my parents' cabin. And every time I was there, like, I would just, think about what a great setting this would be to shoot, like, an independent, like, horror movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't shoot it there because I wouldn't want to destroy my parents' cabin. But, I don't know, watching films like Blair Witch Project and stuff like that, I was thinking, like, you could do, like, a found footage slasher film type thing.
Okay, yeah.
And especially in, like, today's age, like, everyone's so obsessed with documenting everything they do with social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, like Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Everything like that. And so, like, how often do you see things on the news where it's like, this tragedy was happening, and how many people had their phones out videotaping what was going on?
Yep.
So I think I'd try and find some way to do a horror movie slasher film type thing, incorporating that, like, mostly seeming like it was shot from people's cell phones.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. It's not a fully flushed out idea, but it would be a slasher film, and I would definitely want it to be, found footage type thing.
Yeah, that's a good answer, actually. Now, I'm going to answer this question a couple different ways.
Shoot.
For starters, if I had to choose between starring in the movie or making the movie, I would want to make it. Like,
I'd want to do both.
And if we're going realistic versus, like, ideal, realistically, if I was going to do this, I'd probably be writing, because I feel more confident in my writing abilities than acting or directing. But ideally, like, I have always wanted to direct a movie. That is, like, top of the list.
Oh, I'd want to John Krasinski that shit and do like he did with A Quiet Place, like, be involved in the writing, directing, and acting.
Oh, no, absolutely. So, Tangent, you saw that. How was it?
I loved it.
Yeah? It looks really fucking good.
It was, and I'm a big fan of movies with a very small cast.
Yeah, it's only like a handful of people in that, right?
I think there's only like 8 people in the whole movie.
Wow.
Something like that.
Nice. I'm going to have to see that one, too. I know when I get to St. John's, I'm definitely seeing Infinity War and Ready Player One. And anything else if I get the chance. But those are, like, the must-sees for me.
Yeah, I can think of 8 people in the whole movie.
Nice.
But, no, it was great. I actually cried in the theater.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It had its jumpy parts. I thought the creatures looked cool. Some good acting. Like, there was parts that really tugged at your heartstrings. Like, no, solid movie. I was very happy with it.
Tangent of the tangent. Speaking of crying during movies, if you remember listening back, half a dozen episodes ago, I'm generally and always have been a heartless, cold robot when it came to crying at movies.
Yep.
Ironically enough, Iron Giant has fixed that problem because I can't watch that movie without tearing up at the ending. And that is quickly becoming one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm obsessed with it. Oh man. Feeling a little.
It is breaking old exterior.
Yep. Beneath that big metal frame, there's a heart inside, and anyway, back to Will's question. As to what genre of movie I would make or star in, it would differentiate between what I was doing. If I was acting in a movie, I would want it to be a comedy because I feel like I could do better with comedy acting-wise than trying to do anything else. I'm not that confident in my acting abilities. But if I was making a movie, I'd also want to make a horror movie. Like, 100%. I feel like making a horror movie is just the perfect entry point for a director. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in agreement. Horror, generally. And considering I'm not that fussed on the idea of acting, I would want to be behind the scenes. That's where I would like to be in terms of making a movie.
Yeah, the thing is, too, if you're making a horror movie and you're not that great an actor, make it a B movie.
That's true.
Then, true. It's expected that the acting's going to be a bit campy, maybe not very good.
Well, you know what? If technically, I could be the chubby, bearded, comedic guy who dies near the beginning, which is pretty much me and is in most horror movies.
I see myself kind of being like Randy Meeks in Scream.
Okay.
And like, no, the rules. Gotta follow the rules of the horror movie.
You see yourself as Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, man. God. I forgot about that movie.
Most Wanted.
Son of the Mask.
Ew.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the mailbag. Fun as always. Now, our anniversary, we decided to go look back at our very first episode and sort of do a tweak of everything. So, if you remember, in our very first episode, we asked the question, if you could be a superhero, or if you were to be a superhero, what would you call yourself? What would your power be? So,
yeah.
For the anniversary, we're flipping it. If you were a supervillain. So, you want to take this one first, or you want me to hop into it?
If I was a super villain, like this has me thinking, like, who are my favorite supervillains?
Yeah.
And two of the first ones that came to mind were Juggernaut and Doctor Doom. And I think I'd want to be kind of like the Juggernaut, but rule a country kind of like Doom does.
Okay, yeah.
So I'd kind of be like, have Juggernaut's powers with Doom's resources and intelligence.
That sounds
Well,
fun.
I think that's what I would go for.
That's pretty fucking powerful sounding.
Yeah.
Like, what do you even do with that?
Well, what you do with that is you rule a fucking country and
Okay, so
Yeah.
we took very different approaches to this.
God.
So, okay. Just gonna hash over how we answered the question last year. I think you did something similar. You looked at your favorite heroes and then you went for a speedster, right?
Yes.
Hustle, I believe, was the name you came up with.
Yep.
And,
I hustle every day.
yeah. And I took...
Make money, money.
You say that so often. It's just like you almost need it tattooed on you at this point. I don't know which part of it. Maybe all of it. Maybe one big.
I very well might get that tattooed. If we're being honest.
Coming soon. So for mine last year, I went with the take a trait of your personality or a trait of who you are, one of your strongest traits, and enhance it to make a hero. And which is how I landed on being the atomic beard, because if there's one thing I'm good at, it's growing a beard.
Yep.
So I decided to go the same route for the villain, and to take my biggest character flaw, or one of my bigger flaws in general, and to times that by like 1,000,000. And I landed on the fact that I am pretty much addicted to sugar, and it is really hard to kick. So, if I were a supervillain, I would be Dr. Donut. Because, I mean, you got Dr. Doom, you got Dr. Octopus. Doctor just works, okay? I would wear a hood, of course, and I'd wear almost like war paint on my face, but it would be chocolate frosting and sprinkles.
Oh my god.
And my two biggest abilities would be what I'd call donut holes, which were portals that I shoot with my gun that send people to alternate dimensions, and what I call my gamma glaze traps, which were a sticky glaze that sticks my opponent and slowly deteriorates their health with gamma radiation. So I went for like a super old school kind of lame over the top hero villain. And I kind of want to like get some artwork done up now of Dr. Donut. just
Get some artwork done up of Dr. Donut fighting the Atomic Beard.
Man, that'd be a good matchup.
That would be insane.
The Atomic Beard would have his hands full. And his beard full.
Yep.
That almost needs to be a team up now. Oh
God.
Yeah. So, the Atomic Beard and Hustle versus Dr. Donut. And did you come up with a name? I don't know. What's the opposite of hustle? What is the opposite of hustle? I don't know. I got nothing here.
I don't know. Lurch.
Lurch.
I mean, you hustle, you're going hard, you're going fast, but when you lurch, you're just kind of like slowly meandering.
Dr. Do.
When you think lurch, you think like big.
I think
big but slow. Lumbering.
I think Addams Family when I think lurch, but
yeah, that's kind of how he got his name.
Yeah,
because he was so big and so slow and monotone. And you right.
Dr. Donut and his trusty sidekick Lurch. Oh man. Stanley, if you're listening, don't steal our ideas, please.
No.
So, one of probably the biggest part of our pilot episode is we went through every Batman movie and ranked them. And initially when we launched, that was the thing I heard the most feedback about. Like, I can't believe you didn't say this. I can't believe you... Like, people were... I mean, they weren't mad, but they were outraged.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people defending the 89 Michael Keaton Batman. Apparently we didn't give that enough love at all.
Yeah.
So we decided to maybe outrage some more people and do a little ranking of actors who have played Batman.
Yeah.
We went with top 3, right? Because, you know, like, if we went through every single one... to clarify, did you include voice actors?
Yeah.
Okay, me too. Yeah, if we're gonna do everyone who's ever played Batman, there's like including voice actors, there's like 20, 30 dudes. So,
Yep.
top 3. And I'm sure a lot of people's favorites are not gonna make these lists. Can guarantee it.
Number 3, George Clooney. Number 2, Val Kilmer. And number 1, just for Mitchell, Ben Affleck.
Oh, but what about Diedrich Bader? You forgot him.
You know what? Diedrich Bader
Yeah.
wasn't that bad of a voice actor for Batman.
No, he wasn't. It's just nobody really...
I mean,
nobody
it
thinks
did
of him.
throw me off a little bit, but not nearly as bad as what's her face from The Big Bang Theory doing Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah. Melissa
Roth.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but it sounded too much like Bernadette.
I found it was good at first, but it got old really fast. Like, it was almost too much.
Very much so.
So, how do you want to do this? You want to give each list, or you want to go back and forth?
You give your list and I'll give mine.
Okay. Let me see. I feel like I got a pretty classic lineup here.
Let's hear it.
I went number 3, Michael Keaton.
Yep.
Number 2, Adam West. And
Nice.
there was no question in my mind about number 1, Kevin Conroy.
That's what I thought.
So, give yours, and then we'll debate and discuss this a little bit.
Yeah. See, I was torn on this.
Okay.
But I think what I'm going to end up settling with is number 3, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Michael Keaton.
Yep.
And number 1 is also Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. I think pretty unanimous
I was
number 1.
hoping after you said Adam West is number 2, I was like, please be Kevin Conroy for number 1.
Oh, yeah. From the get-go, my number 1 and 2 were set. I've been debating number 3 for a while.
Yeah.
Because, like, I do like, if we're going solely on Batman performances, I think Ben Affleck would go higher, and maybe on my top 3, because I really like him in the Batsuit.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on him as Bruce Wayne.
No, and see, that's what kept him off my list.
Yeah, and
And that's why I was juggling back and forth between him. Like, honestly, I like Ben Affleck's Batman better than Christian Bale, but I think Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne is miles better.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna address this right now because people are gonna ask why the fuck Christian Bale's not in my top 3. Christian Bale, in my opinion, is not this perfect Batman. I think his Batman movies are the best. He had the good fortune of being under the hands of the best director, surrounded by the best cast and the best stories, and I think his performance gets a little enhanced by that. Like, he gets a little too much credit.
Well, okay. The way I look at that is, what movie do people usually consider the best Batman movie? The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But it's not Batman that makes that movie. It's the Joker.
Yep.
Like, you could cast any number of people as Batman in that film, as long as you still had Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yep. Like,
so,
if you take Christian Bale's Batman out of those movies and put him as Batman in, say, Batman and Robin or Batman vs. Superman, it doesn't really change those movies.
No.
It doesn't, it doesn't make it any... I mean, if you took Adam West Batman and put him in Batman and Robin, that movie would be amazing.
Yep.
Like, it would change everything. So yeah, I went Keaton as, like, that was the hardest one to pick. I think he's at the right balance for me in terms of he's a good Batman. He's not a great Batman. He's not a perfect Batman, but he's pretty good. And the same with Bruce Wayne.
For the time, he was fantastic.
Yeah. And I feel like his performance as Batman is, like, in my opinion, the 89 Batman is not the greatest, but it would be worse off without Michael Keaton.
One of the things I like about Keaton's Batman so much is, like, he can flip. You almost see a switch flip in him, like that, where, like, he's joking around at that, like, fundraiser he's having at Wayne Manor early in the movie, and they're, like, poking around, looking at, like, the statues and artifacts in his house, and he comes in the room and he's, like, joking around with them.
Yeah.
And, he seems like the polar opposite of Batman's dark and brooding, and and then Alfred comes in and is like, yo, you gotta bounce, and he just, like, he's smiling like, oh, you'll have to excuse me, seeming a little silly almost.
Yeah.
And then the second he's away from them, this switch just flips, and he's just this serious, down to business thing, and, like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he was great as Bruce Wayne because he's throwing people off the scent of,
Yeah.
like, even in Batman Returns, like, Max Schreck, when he's looking at Bruce Wayne in full bat gear minus, like, the cowl, like, after he's ripped that off, Max Schreck is, like, just cannot process Bruce Wayne being Batman to the point where he looks at him and says, Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed as Batman?
Yeah.
Like, Bruce Wayne, like, Keaton's Bruce Wayne has done such a good job of, like, throwing people off the scent. Like, this guy could not possibly be the Batman.
Yeah, you.
That people just,
You're doing a better.
Which is,
you're doing a better job arguing for Keaton than I did, and what was I gonna say about Michael Keaton's Batman? I feel like Michael Keaton's Batman is the only Batman that people agree we didn't get enough of. Like, you look at Kevin Conroy, yes, people will enjoy more, but they'll never say, like, oh, there's not enough of it. I mean, there's tons. Christian Bale, I think 3 movies was the perfect amount. I'm not, like, at no point was I like, oh, that's not enough, I want more. As much as I enjoyed Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And I feel like you go through the list and Michael Keaton was the one that most people would agree. Too bad we couldn't get one more movie.
Yeah.
So Adam West for me, I feel like was probably the purest Batman. And I don't know. I mean, it's funny and it's a little silly when you look back, but it's just so much fun, and it did so much for the superhero genre. And the guy launched a career off just this one character.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Nobody in the modern age of Batman really outdoes it in terms of live action. In terms of his like full commitment to the role and just making it his own. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't need to argue for Adam West.
Yeah.
Who did you have that I didn't? You had Christian Bale. Christian Bale,
Michael Keaton.
Okay. And something else, Val Kilmer. I feel like Val Kilmer is a lot higher in the ranking than most people would think. Because his Bruce Wayne doesn't do anything for me, but his Batman was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
And, of course, Kevin Conroy. Like, for me, when I picture Batman speaking, that's the voice. Like,
Kevin Conroy?
Kevin Conroy. Did I say Kevin Costner?
No.
Okay. Well, Kevin Costner is not the voice of Batman. Kevin Conroy is the Batman for me. Like,
yeah.
Batman the Animated Series, if he had just done that, that'd be enough. But like the guy's been voicing Batman. He's still voicing Batman for like 30 years?
Over 25 years.
25 years.
Yep.
That's hard to top.
Incredibly.
And he just does such a fucking good job. Like, I don't know. Like, you can debate and argue with my second and third picks all you want, but if you don't think Kevin Conroy is the best Batman, you're wrong. There's
God, yeah.
Like, he is the Batman.
He is vengeance, he is the night, he is Batman.
Yes. Exactly. And I feel like I could not have said that better.
Yeah. To paraphrase a quote from Kevin Conroy himself.
Yeah, exactly. The man, the legend. And the funny thing about it is I don't know much else that he's done. Like,
off the top of my head, I can't either. Like, if I was to pull up his IMDb right now and start going down through it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, exactly.
But off the top of my head, it's just Batman.
And how often do you know of voice actors who make such a career for themselves by basically just doing one character?
Really, though.
And not even, like, I'm not to say, like, obviously he's doing a great job, and nobody else could do it like he does. But it's not like he puts on some kind of zany, hard-to-replicate voice.
Nope. It's his voice.
It is. He doesn't really change it much at all, if any. So...
And you pair that up with Mark Hamill's Joker?
Oh my god. That voice cast was just insanely good. Here's a tangent for you. I'm not sure if I've said this before already, but I came up with the idea, and I honestly forget if I even said this on the podcast, but if I did, I'm going to repeat myself. I really feel like they should take the technology from those Planet of the Apes movies and get Mark Hamill to do a motion capture to do a CGI Joker for a live-action movie.
Yep.
I think it is doable, and I think you would get possibly the greatest Joker ever done.
I think the closest to that we're going to get is his portrayal as the Trickster on CW's The Flash.
Yeah, I would say. Or Cockknocker. From Jay and Silent Bob.
Poor Cockknocker.
What's...
All out Dawson, will ya?
today on Jedi Dropouts, we're going to be doing the top 3 villains by Mark Hamill. In no particular order. Well, we've only got one segment left. This is going to be a shorter episode than we've done lately, but keep it short and sweet.
Which is fine.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
going to get me some pizza as soon as this episode's done.
To be fair, we never really intended to do episodes as long as we have lately. We've kind of set...
No, we just get on rants and tangents and we just go. We get so excited at some of these topics that we just start spewing words.
Yeah. We've had episodes that were just under 3 hours, which was never planned at all. So we're going against our own ways here. We're setting the bar way too high.
Yep.
Keep the bar on the ground. Okay. The final part of our pilot episode was if we were to cast ourselves. Our very first fan casting ever. We casted ourselves.
Yep.
So, what better way to end our anniversary episode than to cast and pitch? You gotta pitch this thing. You gotta give me something here. A Jedi Dropouts feature film. Oh my god. Who's going first on this one?
You've been going first for everything else, so I'll let you take the lead on this one as well.
Okay. So, I didn't want to recast the same actors I used last year. If you remember correctly, I went with either Seth Rogen and Jay Baruchel or Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, depending on the budget.
Yes.
So I decided that this movie would only be made if we became absolute superstars of podcasting, if we had an internationally acclaimed podcast, and that this movie would get all the money. Like, this is full-on Hollywood summer blockbuster. So, Jedi Dropouts, the movie. The stars of a rising geek podcast, Ryan Taylor and James Moss, are traveling to Comic-Con when they have a head-on collision with a van filled with science juice and find themselves with superhuman powers. Now, the Dropouts must struggle through their panel at Comic-Con while dealing with their new powers and trying to get to the bottom of the origins. Starring Jonah Hill and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh my god.
Jedi Dropouts, the movie. What do you think? Are you willing to invest?
I am, for sure.
I'd go see it. I mean, it would.
Yeah.
I went with people that look nothing like us, but fit our very, very basic outlines enough that Hollywood think it would work.
Yep.
And I figured I could combine the podcast with the Atomic Beard and Hustle personas. Put in some science juice for a bit of fan service there, you know. Throw in some Easter eggs here and there. Maybe they could at one point go for lunch at a pizza place called Good Pizza, and you could get James Wan to cameo as the pizza server.
Oh my god!
But one thing that must happen in the Jedi Dropouts feature-length movie, there will secretly be a cameo, even if it's just one scene or like an extra or a line. There will be a cameo in this movie from every single cast member of the film Delivery Man.
Jesus.
Because it just keeps coming up, and I had to find a way to fit it into this episode. And, like, it would be such a minor Easter egg that, like, nobody would catch on I mean, well, if it happens now, then I guess they will, because I said it right now. But it would be one of those, like, it would be one of those things where, like, the super fans are keeping, like, the closest eye, and they're breaking down all the cameos, and anyway. What do you got?
I picked two people to play us that we haven't talked about before.
Okay.
But I very much enjoyed their on-screen chemistry, so I wanted to cast them together again.
Okay.
So, as myself, I cast Tom Holland.
Oh, I see.
And as you, I made you the man in the chair. Jacob Batalon.
Okay.
Played Ned Leeds.
Yep. So is this like an origin story sort of thing? Because they're pretty young. Or they look young.
They look young, but, I mean, we're not that old. I mean, I'm 30. You're 27.
Yeah. But I feel like I look a little bit older than that guy. Because he looks like he's playing 15, but very believably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, the way I see it is, it's a comedy about two guys who are trying to branch out from podcasting, trying to expand their brand.
Okay.
They have a podcast. It has some loyal listeners, but it hasn't exploded the way they would like. So they're trying to branch out. And one of the ways that they're trying to do that is by, like, making videos for the internet.
Okay.
And, like, they both have their day jobs, but they don't have this huge cash flow to make these really, like, high-budget, awesome videos. So the videos they make are all super low-budget, like, have you seen Be Kind Rewind?
Yeah.
Well, kind of like the movies that Jack Black and Mos Def made in that movie, like their version of Ghostbusters, their version of RoboCop, like super low budget, just like cardboard and plastic bags painted certain ways, type thing. Like,
slight tangent here. Just
yeah.
We're pause here for a tangent, because we do tangents. It happens. I haven't seen Be Kind Rewind since it came out. Does it hold up? Like,
it's been years since I've seen it, but I don't know. I'm not the greatest Jack Black fan, but I do like Mos Def's acting.
Yeah, me too. I really like Mos Def and pretty much everything he does.
Yeah. I should put that on my list of movies to rewatch in the near future. But, like, it always stands out to me, like, you know, their makeshift movie effects and stuff like that. And, like, Jack Black's RoboCop, where he's like, I know robot karate.
Just to explain, if anyone hasn't heard of this movie or don't know it, which I feel like you might anyway, but it has one of the best premises for a movie ever. These two guys work at a video store, if I'm remembering this right, and they accidentally...
Mos Def works at a video store. I can't remember if Jack Black works there or not, or if he's just some hangout.
Either way, they accidentally erase the contents of every tape in the store, so they set out to make all of these movies so to replace them, and that's just the best idea for a movie.
It's great.
I'm gonna rewatch that now. Anyway, back to your pitch.
So it's just Peter and Ned playing us, making videos for the internet, very low budget. Like, if we were to make a Spider-Man movie, it would look very much like Peter's original Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's just like two guys frustrated, attempting to make these YouTube videos to help expand their brand, trying to finally, like, blow up, and trying to make just, like, viral videos, and just hitting walls left, right, and center, and getting super frustrated, never actually, blowing up, getting successful like they're looking for, but there ends up being some heartwarming lesson about some bullshit along the way.
Yeah. Okay. And it could actually say that, like, the freeze frame, where are they now sort of ending?
Yep.
Almost like the ending of Mallrats, where it freeze frames over every character. It could freeze frame over us with, they never actually did blow up. However, they learned some kind of heartwarming message about some bullshit along the way.
And it would be narrated by Macaulay Culkin.
Yes. I was listening to his podcast again today. He's wonderful.
I follow him on Instagram. It's great.
He's fucking funny as shit. Like, if you guys aren't following what Macaulay Culkin is doing these days in his podcast, his website, his social media, it is just the funniest. He is hilarious.
Yep. He's worth the follow.
So yeah, I would watch either one of those Jedi Dropouts movies.
Yep.
They sound fantastic.
Now we just need to figure out a third one so we can make it a trilogy.
There we go. A trilogy starring 3 different sets of people as us in different... Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be our anniversary episode. And
the third movie could be the horror movie that you and I are going to make.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's so meta. Like, the third movie is the movie that we make. Yep. Where we cast ourselves as ourselves in a hypothetical horror situation. Where...
See, it wouldn't necessarily be a series, more like an anthology.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And the third one could be that our podcasting studio is haunted.
There you go.
And, yeah, I don't know what you'd call it. My mind's going straight to, like, one of our horror episodes, like Night of the Living Dropouts or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess
have so many horror tropes and cliches in there.
Every single one. Every trope. Even ones that would clash with each other. Like...
Yep.
I'm not sure what that would be off the top of my head, but,
we'd find a way to throw it all in there, break the fourth wall, be, like, completely ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Like, find 2 trope origin stories for the ghost, but have both of them exist, and then have the characters question how that's possible.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. We'll make it happen. Done. Consider it done. It'll probably be out before this episode. Maybe. Yeah, that was fun. I'm glad we got to do this. Hopefully, I was hoping we could do the anniversary episode in person, and like we could have a cake and confetti and whatever those little noisemakers are that roll out and go party hats maybe, but didn't work out. We have none of that, so
yeah.
So let's quickly touch on our next episode, because I'm excited. I think the next episode's going to be real good.
Oh yeah.
As we mentioned, Avengers Infinity War comes out. We're both going to see it. And then we're going to do a full review. But also, Star Wars Day is coming up.
Yes, it is.
And we're finally going to do the episode we've been trying to do for a year. We're going to finally rank the Star Wars movies.
Yep.
We're going to do a sort of Disney-based episode, I guess you would say. Because Infinity War review / Star Wars ranking. And if all goes according to plan, you should expect that episode on May 4th.
I hope so.
Yeah. Hopefully. If not, then May the 5th be with you, I guess.
Revenge of the 5th.
Oh, shit, you should have saved that one. We'll use it if we have to. Well, yeah, there we go. We're lined up. What about... well, yeah, that works with 6th as well. We can't stretch it to the 7th because I got nothing there. So the episode title will vary depending on what day we get it out.
Yep.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to everything that we've done over the last year. I've had a fucking blast doing this. I feel like...
Oh my god.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I've found my calling with podcasting. I love this, and I do not want to stop podcasting. It is addicting, and I love it. And also, our YouTube channel. So that is something we've been doing as well lately, because I finally got it right.
Yep.
I finally... I gotta go into this. I gotta go into this real quick. The amount of trouble I've had trying to get gameplay videos on YouTube with commentary has been a fucking nightmare. Like, I had my original method not work, my secondary method not work. The third one, the method worked, but it took about a day to get to the editing phase for each video, even if it was 5 minutes long. And then the program that I was editing with wouldn't work. The fourth method worked great, was quick, but then that program didn't work. I'm finally on the 6th try, I found something that worked. And I've been trying to do this since, last June maybe? Something like that. So finally, over on my YouTube channel, you can check out gameplay of me playing currently just Injustice 2 and Rocket League. Although, I think I'm going to delve into some maybe more story-based stuff. I picked up Cuphead, and that's probably going to be fucking hard as shit. And I might dive into maybe a BioShock game at some point. Something like that. And you were telling me earlier, you are finally done with ukulele?
Yeah, I've been having issues with my PS4, so while I'm figuring those out, the issues with my PS4 took all the fun out of ukulele for me, and I was near the end of the game, but not near enough that I could finish it, in a satisfactory way. So I'm finished with that game, and while I'm figuring out the issues with my PS4, I'm playing randomized versions of A Link to the Past on my computer, and I'm also playing random battles in Pokemon Showdown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna go well. I mean, games you know and love, and I feel like you're gonna have some good commentary in there as well.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna try and record those, maybe stream them if I can, and if anyone ever wants to challenge me to a random Pokemon battle, then let's do it up.
The challenge is out there, ladies and gentlemen.
The challenge is out there. You may kick my ass, you may not. Depends on the Pokemon we get dealt.
And then that'll be on YouTube, and you can share it around to your friends and boast about how years ago you defeated on YouTube one of the co-hosts of the most popular podcast of all time, the internationally acclaimed Nobel Peace winning podcast, Jedi Dropouts.
The Monty Python of podcasters.
Which will probably have a different name if we ever get that big, because I'm sure George Lucas will not have it.
No.
Maybe just Dropouts at that point.
Yeah.
That's our backup. So, and also gonna throw this in here. Final Form. Me and Mitchell Clark are doing an anime podcast. If you haven't listened to it yet, on the Jedi Dropouts channels. 2 episodes in, we got our pilot. The second one we just did was a review of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, which was a fucking ride to get through. And we got our next episode coming up next week. We're going to be covering My Hero Academia, which is a fucking blast. I'm loving this show. So next week, Final Form, My Hero Academia. The following week, Jedi Dropouts, Infinity War review, Star Wars ranking, and in between all that, all kinds of YouTube gameplay. We're going crazy with content lately. We're keeping it steady. And I'm having a real fucking good time with it.
It's a lot of fun. Like, these are things, like, we would be playing these games anyway. We would be having these debates, discussions, and everything with each other anyway. We've just decided to record this stuff and put it out there for you guys.
Yeah.
And that's part of why it's so much fun. Like, these are things we enjoy doing anyway.
Yeah. And I feel like over the last year, we've created not a huge community, but a small community that I'm loving. Like, I've made friends out of this. I've made good friends through creating this podcast, and it's fantastic. And one more thing, I don't know if I mentioned this to you yet, but seeing as we're finally getting to our Star Wars episode, we'll put the call out early. Our next episode is going to feature a special Star Wars mailbag.
Yep.
If you have Star Wars questions, ask them. Whatever you want to know. Whatever, I don't know. You want to know, I got nothing.
Who shot first?
Who shot first? Maybe we'll get around to that one. That'll be, you want to know, who would we cast in a Empire Strikes Back remake, which should never happen. Anything at all. Anything Star Wars related. What is the greatest Star Wars video game?
Our thoughts on the trailers for Solo.
Yeah, which is coming soon. And, send us those. We'll be putting out a call on Facebook and Instagram, maybe next week sometime. But if you're a listener, you got the advantage. You got the early peek here, and you can send that to us wherever you want. Inbox us, send us a text, messenger pigeon, however you want to get your question to us. Send us actual mail, I guess. And I guess that's a wrap. So, one more time, thank you for everything the past year. Thank you for all the listens and downloads. Shout out to, I guess, that one guy from Japan who listens, maybe. And all you Californians who somehow have found us, thank you very much.
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, maybe that's Kevin Smith. He's down there. We did an episode on Kevin Smith. Maybe the fat man himself has listened, has heard our call. But
that would be a dream come true.
I have hope not, since we haven't heard from him, so that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
But, who knows? Thanks.
One can.
Yeah. Thanks again, and Thanks for dropping by.
Something, something, drop out.
Later.
Peace.